My name is Martina Peter. I'm a researcher at the Swiss Federal Institute for Forest, Snow and Landscape Research, WSL, in Switzerland, and I'm leading the group Ecological Genetics there within the research unit Biodiversity and Conservation Biology. And my research turns, since I started my studies in biology, around fungi. And specifically about ectomycorrhizal fungi, which live in symbiosis with trees. And this is a mutualistic symbiosis, which means that both partners profit from each other. So the tree delivers carbon to the fungi, which are associated at their finest roots. And the plants can produce the sugars via photosynthesis, which the fungus cannot do itself. So the plant delivers the sugar, and in return the fungus delivers nutrients and water, which it can much better access via these fine hyphae that grow out in the soil. And so it's a nutrient exchange where both profit from each other. And my studies turn around several aspects of this symbiosis. So on the one side, really, how is it possible? How do they interact with each other to construct such a common organ? How do they exchange like the informations, nutrients, at the very molecular level, but then also at the ecology. So what is the meaning of this high diversity of these fungal species that we can find even at one single tree can be associated to up to 100 different ectomycorrhizal fungal species. So what is the meaning of this diversity? How is this fungal diversity affected by anthropogenic impacts or climate change as well? And then, but also, what is the role of these fungi in climate change for the resilience of their host tree partners? Do they have more resilience because they have this community at their roots, and so on? So these are questions we are targeting in our group, and also how these fungal species how do they adapt to climate change? So how can a fungal species adapt to changing environments? Yeah, WSL has a long history about, of course, forest research. So we were the first institute doing forest research, and since beginning of the institute that we are, so we are rather an applied institute, being associated to belonging to the EGH domain, but doing rather applied research, also fundamental but applied. And it was since the beginning there was this fungal group also, because these species are in the forest and are important in the forest, and especially the saprotrophic fungi are very important. We also have groups working with saprotrophic fungi. We have the group also the Swiss fungi, which collects data from all over Switzerland. It's the database of the fungal species. It's located at WSL. We have groups that focus on pathogenic fungi rather, and we are the group that focuses on mycorrhizal fungi. I'm leading the group, and actually we have diverse study foci in our group. So, as the name says, it's ecological genetics. So we have, on the one side, we look at adaptation of species, not only fungal species, but also forestry species, alpine species, also animals. And we are looking in principle at ecological processes in diverse organisms to study how they behave with molecular tools, using molecular tools. And one aspect is the fungi, the mycorrhizal interaction. One aspect is the adaptation of diverse species. on their local environments and climate change also. But then also we have conservation genetic aspects where we look at species of conservation concerns or rare species and how these populations behave and how they are impacted by land use and land use change and climate change, all based on molecular information. And so I'm leading a group of 5 independent researchers. And we have, in addition, then postdocs and PhD students and technicians. So at the moment we are, and then master students. Yes, at the moment we have 19 people in the group. So it's quite a big group to lead, which means also for me that there is quite a bit of administrative work also. It's not that I'm leading as like a head, it's just that I'm taking over the administration, because in this research system we are quite horizontal, so we have these project leaders which we come together with the whole group also, but then also when it comes to budget and things like that, we share, we discuss, we share. That's the way I'm leading this group. Here in Patagonia, my research focus is to study at the Micorrhyzal fungi here, because we have here a forest that is associated. I looked at the roots, they're fully mycorrhized as they are in temperate regions where I'm usually studying. With different mycorrhizal species. I know the genera, I see them, I know them from, not all of them are also present in the northern hemisphere, so it's really interesting to see other species, get to know new species, and also to be in a territory where not much research is done. So the southern hemisphere is way less understudied, so it's very important to also get new information about the diversity here, about the fungal species living here, describing the morphotypes at the roots and so on. So it's general the diversity of the fungi that I'm interested in to look at, together with our colleagues from local mycologists and from other partners in the project. And then we also focus specifically on one particular mycorrhizal fungus. The name is Xenococcus geophyllum. It's a fungus that we don't really know, because one doesn't really know because it doesn't form like fruit bodies, sporocarps that we see above ground. It's only present below ground at roots and forming little builds as resistant propagals to endure stress. And this is a fungal species that is highly abundant in many forest ecosystems in temperate region, but also worldwide, except for the tropics. And we focus on that species because it's also often more present in drought-stressed sites, and in relation to climate change, it's important to study this species. What are the functions? How does it adapt to different conditions? It might be a means to also help tree species when it comes to really dry places where they wouldn't be able to grow anymore. Maybe with the help of this fungus, they will be possible again. So we also search for these species and collect strains to get to know via looking at the genome how it adapts, and are there specific strains that are very much more resistant to drought or whatever cold that we have here. We are here in Patagonia, and within the Fungi Cosmology project in general, we are 4 scientists, and we have taxonomists, we have also ecologists, but study rather the endomycorrhizal symbiosis, which is the the most abundant, prevalent mycorrhizal symbiosis worldwide, because they also associate to grass, to herbs, all practically 80% of all plant species live together with those kinds of. There are very old fungal not kingdom. It's an order, phylum. Glomeromycota, very old fungi. They're very important also in agriculture because they associate to the crops that we're growing. And so we have a specialist on endomycorrhizae here, and then she's coming from Chile, and it's fantastic to work together with these colleagues. On the one side, of course, because they come from different fields, and it's highly interesting to see how they approach and what methodology they use to study their subjects, the fungi. And on the other side, it's just highly interesting to work together. And international collaboration, I think in research it's quite easy to come together and exchange. So we came together, we didn't know each other at all before, and it was just boom, we were like very well working together and in common. And also, of course, we share the material, so we see who is taking care of what and what can we bring out then together, and also with the whole group then at the end of the project. So within the Fungi Cosmology project, I talked a lot about the science now, but what is for sure more important and more special, of course, also is the fact that we are here together with artists and curators coming from 3 different countries, and going in 3 different territories together in this long-term project to look at the fungal kingdom from different perspectives. And this is it's highly interesting for me to see how artists approach the subject that I'm always studying since ever, which is very different, and not always very different, also very common approaches sometimes, I think. So for me it's very inspiring to have this group together like that. And also we do workshops together where we also discuss, there is also, of course, not only the fungus, but also the meaning about the mycorrhizal fungi, the wood wide web, the connecting, the exchange, the networking, the metabolism. The food is also very important, which is also something different, which I would not experience if we were here just with scientists. But it gives it opens the mind how we can look at things and how we can interpret things. And I very much enjoy this. And it's a very good spirit in this group, which I'm appreciating very much. The fungi have diverse roles within climate change. So for my research, as I already a little bit explained, it is very important because these ectomycorrhizal fungi living at tree roots of the most trees in temperate regions and boreal regions, also how they can give resilience to the tree hosts, and how climate change impacts on the diversity, but also then what is their role in the resilience of the trees. Fungi have another important role, mostly also in boreal temperate regions. They also sequestrate carbon in the soil. So when the plants take up CO2, produce sugar, they deliver them below ground, and fungi they do store the carbon and keep them in the soil, especially in cold regions such as here or in boreal regions. So this is a very important role. But on the other hand, of course, fungi also decompose organic matter and like this release again CO2. So it's always both sides. And this is interesting to study. Where is the equilibrium? Where is it? In which direction does it go? Where is the tipping point when is more carbon dioxide released than stored in the soil? And there fungi play a pivotal role in this.